Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So as you know the title, you will guess what this video might be. So I've been making these FNAF music videos and animations for quite some time now, starting from like 2024 with Apple. I think a lot of people are asking me like my process and how I do them. So I figured maybe finally make a video about this and just talk about my process and how I make these ideas and just in general how these videos came to be. Starting off, the idea came from me to make these videos was like when I listened to Brat, the album by Charlie XCX. Butter. And I was listening to Apple. Apple is like the one of the standout tracks from Brat. And I really love Apple, and just listen to it and just it's like those moments when I think a lot of artists can relate. It's like you listen to a song and you have that vision in your mind of what scenario that song might be fitting in. At first it just came to me because of an edit of like of a show called Euphoria, which is a questionable show. But the edit was like Apple was using the edit, and I really like how they interpreted the scenes into the song. So it just kicked off me with the idea and just thinking about what kind of scenario Apple would be fitting. At first it was like a random edit of sorts of so many medias, but then it just came to me in mind about FNAF and how messed up the Afton family is. And it took a while for me to commit to it because animation is like really hard to do. So I finally commit to it, and I started off with like storyboards and then going off to the sprites and the animation, all that, which I will be showing in depth in this video. So yeah, let's go to the storyboard section. Okay, for this video, I'll be using Jealousy, the animation as an example as how I make these animations. So starting off, we have the storyboard or animatic, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, animation starts off like planning and storyboarding and such. So here is how I do it. So in Krita, there's like an animation setup, which is in the workspace area. I don't know if you can see in the recording, but there is an animation tab which you can select, and this is where I basically do the planning and the animation in all the frames. So for my storyboard and animation settings, I use the frame rate 4 to 6 because it slows down a bit. If I play here, you can see it's a bit choppy, which is what I want. For these storyboards, I usually don't have to be that detailed for them. Usually it just needs to get the point across, or just it's easy to interpret what's going on. So when I get to the scene, so this scene is where William is on the couch just angry and just like being jealous of Henry. So it repeats up and down, which I will show in DaVinci Resolve as how I do the animation. So this is the storyboards, and it goes on the picture, and then here comes William and zooms in into him just looking down, and then the final shot. So for these pauses, it depends on the song that I use. So 3 frames and then another frame, 3 frames and then another frame. So yeah, it goes like that. It just goes on and on until the end. I'm sure if you have seen the behind the scenes footage, you will know what happens. Yeah, I think you have seen like the animatic already. Yeah, it goes on and on and on and on. For the storyboards, I usually do like 3 frames if you don't count the group. The first frame is like my watermark, and one of the frames is the arcade screen, which is like the square box you see here. I have 2 sketching layers. For like one maybe it's like for the background and one for the character. This is like an example, as I have like William in one frame and Henry and Charlie in another frame, so that it makes it more easier for me to move the characters as I go through the storyboard. There's not much to say about the storyboarding part. It's just that you're sketching out the ideas and finding what works and what doesn't. And again, it doesn't have to be too detailed as long as you get the idea of what you want the animation to look like. There's nothing much to say more. It's just planning and such. And now we're moving on to the sprite section, which I think a lot of people might be curious on how I do it. First, I make it so that the aspect ratio is like very, very, very small. So the aspect ratio for this William Afton sprites are 192x108. So this is basically William Afton. So these are his standing sprites. So I keep these separate. When it comes to the animation, I know where to stop and where to go for these sprites. It'll be more in detail when I go to DaVinci Resolve. So yeah, these these are the standing sprites. There are a lot of sprites for Jealousy when it comes to William. Like a lot, like when it comes to his like other emotions, when he is like frustrated, like going up and down, like such. And this is when he is like reading the letter that Henry wrote to him. It's like when he was looking to Henry and Charlie. And this is his sideways and his walking sprites. The walking sprites were a bit difficult, but basically it's just like at first his like left arm goes up and his right arm goes down, and also his legs does the same. It's just like opposite sides. And the second one is just the opposite, like his like left arm is going down and right arm going up. Also the legs are the same as well. Also his sideways like it's pretty simple. It's very subtle. It's very subtle if you can see it. So it's like his darker side is basically his other leg, and the lighter side is like his other leg. The sprites aren't really that accurate to the rest of the games, but it's just a way for me to I use like the sprites as a basis as to what I might do for these. So yeah, okay, this is like his walking backwards sprites, and some bonus sprites for Jesse is like when he is like sitting on the couch frustrated about Henry. And oh yeah, this is like his mini version when he was going to the car. Also for Henry is like it's pretty much the same. Mostly every sprites that I did pretty much the same principle. So just going up and going down, sideways, and the walking. For sprites like these, like the background sprites, these were incredibly hard to do. Though this is originally from the Like Him FNAF animation. I usually just reuse the asset from that animation for this one. For this one, I separated the crowd and William and Henry for this one, so that when it came to the animation, the crowd will like slowly descends down. Henry and William will be descending up. It's a bit subtle, but it's there for like the effect. I try my best to mimic the style of the games, but I usually go overboard and just do a bit more detail than I should have, but it works out. I really like how it turned out. Oh, and I forgot to mention that because of how DaVinci works with images, it's not possible for me to leave like William as in this small ratio. So what I had to do was like increase the size. Okay, if I can find an example. So as you can see here, the aspect ratio is 2560 to 1440. So I basically had to increase the size, as you can see here. So I had to increase the size for each sprite that I do. It's a bit time consuming, but it's what it is. But it works. So that's all that matters. So now we're moving on to DaVinci Resolve. So this is where everything just comes together, like the sprites and the effects and everything. So starting off, I just started off with like the warning thing. If you know, these animations that have flash warnings, I'm really sorry for like the Like Him and the Apple animation that I put the flash before the warning. So very sorry about that. But so now from Jealousy to the other animations I have planning, I won't do the flash thing anymore. Okay, so this is basically how I do the sprite. As you can see here, it's like goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down, goes up. So each frame here is the one sprite. So you can see like the name here. This is number 1 and this is number 2. William's head goes up and William's head goes down. So it just creates this illusion that it's moving a bit. This is before I learned about this technique. So basically what I do is like I plan out how long this animation will be at, to be like here, and then also plan out the other frame. I think it's called keyframes. I think the zoom starts from here and it ends around here. So it creates this illusion that it's moving and also zooming a little bit. After a while, I noticed that there is a much easier process for me to do this, which I think I probably did, which I think I will show in a while. So basically, frame number 1 goes first and goes on for like 3 seconds or 1 second, and then frame 2 comes out, and then it loops and loops and loops and loops until it comes to a certain point where I want to change the scene. Hopefully that's a bit understandable. Basically, the basis of it is just like this, just like going up, going down, going up, going down, going up, going down. It's not much interesting here. Yeah, this is where I discovered the zooming function. There's a thing called adjustment clips, which is this one. So basically, I just found out that I can zoom in without having to make it about each frame. So as you can see here, it goes here, goes here. so it does the job for me more easy. So I won't have to do that separating thing again. But yeah, this one was a tricky one because if you've seen my behind the scenes breakdown, I have like around 20 frames here. If I hadn't covered the adjustment clip option, it probably would have been more disastrous. But okay, it goes on. You can see here the more adjustment clips here. Yeah, this is my favorite part of the animation. This is basically like text in the background. I really like this effect a lot. So the text usually comes after the animation, which I will be showing in a bit. For this animation, I wanted to do this so that it signifies William's jealousy a bit. Yeah, we're almost in the animation. Basically the same, just like the ups and downs, the ups and downs, the ups and downs. It's very simple, yeah. We're basically at the end of the animation part. So now we're going to move on to the editing or the text part. If you don't know yet, basically the animation, there's like 4 video files for each stage. So the first stage is the animation part. The second stage is the editing and also the text part, just fixing around some stuff. The third part is when you see like the arcade screen effect. And the fourth part is basically the final composition, like the glows and all that. So this is where I finally added the title card and also the FNAF music video and also the captions or the lyrics. But yeah, some lyrics I have like these like fade-ins, like when it goes red. These are a bit subtle effects, but I really like them. A bit flashing here for like transitions. Some parts are shrink down, so usually these are like 1, but they are shrink down for them to like for the lyrics to pop up a bit. This is the 3D part. All of these are just like text and editing some stuff just editing some like transition, like you see here. Like the flashing. There's nothing much to be said other than like the lyrics and zooming out and such. The credits are made here, so I just like firstly the music video by me and also the song. For this one is All the Way Jiggle, Queen, and the programs I used, Krita and DaVinci Resolve, and yeah, all that stuff. So yeah, that's basically it for the text part. So for this section, I can't show much because the process of me doing this lags out. So basically it's just me adjusting the stuff and also adding the arcade screen. So yeah, also the scan lines and such. The scan lines I think I did here. Yeah, the scan lines is basically I did here with like the line frequency and such. It's basically a simple thing. And for the arcade screen, I use an adjustment clip, which I have to, I think Fusion is the part. Oh yeah. So this is basically lens distort, what I use for the arcade screen. Basically it distorts a little bit, makes it more curvy and such. I can't show much because if I play, it lags out, but you can see here it lags out a bit. All here is just like the arcade screens and such. So now we can move on to like the final part, which is the final composition. For the final composition is basically where everything comes together. And as for starting, if you can hear, so yeah, I basically added like some effects in the background for like the arcade screen effect and also like the ambience for like when the arcade is starting up. And then it will fade into the song. And for like the effects I have here is basically like glowing and also light rays. For that glowing arcade effect, if you can basically see here, like it pops out a bit more. I like that glow effect. This is basically inspired by the It's Been So Long, like the animation by the Living Tombstone. Absolutely goat. Most of the animations is basically comes from the Living Tombstones, the It's Been So Long animation, which inspired me to do this sort of style and just basically learn how the sprites works in the FNAF universe. It's basically like this, the same stuff, just like more like fleshed out, and the ambience comes back a bit for the credits part. And when it goes out, you can hear like it basically distorts a bit, cuts out a bit. That's basically it for like, I think that's kind of basically for my breakdown. So yeah, that's kind of it for the breakdown. I really want to thank you guys for like the support you guys have given for these animations. I obviously really didn't think that these animations will blow up that much considering how the algorithm is, but I'm really glad like people like these animations, watch these animations and just getting inspired as well. It really means the world to me that my work speaks to you guys. And as for the future, there will be more animations coming soon. It will be depending if I have ideas for them. Like as I said before, I will be exploring more of the characters in the FNAF series. So yeah, so stay tuned for that. Speaking of more, if you have watched until this part, I have a little surprise for you guys for like a future animation they have in the works. So here's a teaser.